one of the first things I said to Rich was, I want real numbers. Like, if it's bad, tell me it's bad, right? If, at the time it was Jim Costa, if he's popular and it's an unwinnable race, just friggin' tell me, right? I need to see the real data. So that's why I know both of you guys, you're not, people are acting like, oh, they're skewing their data. No, they're seeing a number and they're saying, whoa, this is a big red flag and you guys are doing something wrong. Because if everybody's just going to tell Trump in his ear, oh, everything's great, it's all hunky dory, right? He's not going to realize it. You cannot be a blind follower. You're actually doing more of a disservice to the president when you're just going along with everything, because you need to understand, hey, it's okay to speak up. So it's not actually the right move to just blindly go along with everything. If somebody's making a mistake, you have to tell them.
Rich, I want to get your opinion, and because I think the important point here is that something bad happened that's going to potentially jeopardize the will of the voters. That's my opinion. But how bad is it? What are we really looking at here?
I do think that it may be too early to tell, and this is how it is polling in the Trump era. Just when you think that you're in the field for an appropriate amount of time to capture everything that has happened, he does something or something happens that makes you say, man, I should have stayed in the field for another 3 days, or now I got to go back into the field. Here's the problem that I think this post today, I do think it's going to be bad. And here's why I do think this. Because the make Iran great again thing, we already heard about, okay? The post before, we already heard about. What made Donald Trump different and what gave him so much leeway with voters is that voters would say things like, maybe Donald doesn't choose the right words. Maybe the president doesn't choose the right words, but he doesn't mince words and he's authentic. And then we would hear other things like this, guys. Maybe he doesn't speak the way a politician speaks and he doesn't worm around things, but he doesn't lie to us. Maybe he says something wrong and he just chooses, but he doesn't lie to us. And then the other thing you'll hear is, maybe Donald he's coarse and he's brass, but he doesn't insult our intelligence. He doesn't insult us. He doesn't take us for
felt
granted.
Like he respected you. That was one of the things the blue
He
collar
respected you, right? So this is okay. That's it. So that is cut through all the noise here, guys. What he did, and I know that people don't have the balls to say what I'm going to say, and that's a major problem in the Trump era, and I think we all know that. People are afraid sometimes to say what is real and what is true because they're afraid to get cut. And I mean, at this point, I'm never going to change who I am or how I live my life or conduct myself professionally, so I'm going to say it. He has insulted voters with this. He has. He called them stupid. He called my phony. I don't need you. And let me tell you something. I'm looking at people like Mike Davis who posted, you know what? They don't need the influencers. Actually, one of those influencers did more to get out the vote than anyone at the RNC has ever done. You want to know who the major this one's a grifter, that one's a grifter. Every Republican establishment in this country is the biggest group of grifters out there, to the point where one of these influencers, which is a condescending word now, had to do it himself, get his own organization to reinvent the wheel. And then a bunch of other organizations also did the same thing with the help of these other influencers. So you do need those influencers, and not because Donald Trump needs to be reelected, but they cannot lose the Congress if he wants to finish his first term. He does. I guess people just didn't understand. His real armor, guys, are the voters who support him. Rush isn't alive anymore. God bless him and God rest him. But he was 100% right when he said two things. One, you're never going to they're afraid of Trump, but because of you. They're afraid of you. There's 80 million of you out there. And for you, he's your guy. And as long as he doesn't break the bond, then they're never going to be able to separate you from him. And you'll always be his armor. You'll always be his protection. Today, guys, I don't know if you get any closer to an example of Donald Trump doing something that can break the bond with these voters. for everyone out there, again, who claps like a seal, there were grandmas and grandpas who were thrown in jail because they supported Donald Trump. All right. There are marriages that have been destroyed in this country over support for Donald Trump. There are family relationships forever broken because of their support for Donald Trump. And he did this. I mean, look, we already heard people feeling like that he was putting them down and he was getting right. He was walking up into that line. And then what he did today is over that line, guys. It is.
And then
so I don't know if we know how bad it is yet, but it's bad.
To piggy on that, I mean, my personal experience, right? I mean, people could be like, oh, well, you're stupid to run in the first place. I mean, I lost $250,000 of my own money because I believed in Trump's vision. I tried to get him.
Yeah, you paid your dues.
Bring his movement to California where they thought it was impossible. But even further, what Rich is saying is that some of those influencers, right, when Trump didn't have a voice, right, when he was banned from every social media, they were the ones who helped bring him back, right, and let people remember what it was like before COVID and that. I mean, they did that, and just like you said, Rich, going kind of off the rails, the message. I mean, the people who put Trump over, listen, everybody wants to point to, oh, look, his approval in the Republican Party is still 98%. That's great, but
no,
that's not the margin
it's
that
not,
delivered
though, anyway.
It's not the margin that delivered him the victory. The 1%, the 2% that delivered the victory, those are the people who didn't vote because they wanted more war in Ukraine. They didn't want more. They said, I want America first. I want somebody who's going to make sure that food is affordable. My cities are safe. The illegal immigration is stopped. And they also, listen, I go back to when Trump said, remember at his rally speech when everybody went nuts and I think he was told to tone it down when he said, I am your retribution. There are a lot of people that voted that because they want the system cleaned up. They're tired of feeling like
they're supposed to have grievances. That's supposed to be how
the framers had grievances. They made the Declaration of Independence. Here's our grievances, right? And this was supposed to be the chance to finally address it to where, okay, because the Democrats are insulting our intelligence, right? When Biden went out there for 4 years telling us how justice is blind and everybody's, treated equally. We're like, that's bullcrap. And then Trump wins. We're like, finally, we're going to clean this up. And it is going to be everybody treated equally. And so people don't want to feel that. It's a huge issue for me because like Rich and I we were talking before the show, what happens after Trump leaves office? Nobody's really been held accountable yet for any of the atrocities that happened. And if you think the Democrats are going to forget, no, they're going to go even harder the next time.
They'll come back.
We still have a CIA that kills presidents. They haven't fixed that problem yet.
Which, Mark, you've told it as well. I mean, all of a sudden, these things are turning into conspiracy theories, right? Like as if everyone didn't largely agree on the situation with Epstein. He easily, when it comes to this issue, and I saw your polling, Mark, and honestly, sometimes, because we asked some questions too, sometimes I get surprised, and it's rare that I get surprised. But, you had said something on a show the other day where you're trying to get them to understand this many people wouldn't agree that oxygen is a good thing. And I laughed hysterically listening to you because that's true. And any public opinion pollster knows that it is very rare.
100%. Yeah.
It never, it like never happens. And then once in a great while, I will be stunned by results and the power of this Epstein issue to simply think that it's just a fringe. Oh, it's Trump's QAnon leftover supporters. In fact, the QAnon leftover supporters are now the ones who are faking they didn't support Ron DeSantis throughout the primary and didn't tell you that Robert Mueller was a good guy and didn't tell you that Tony Fauci was a good guy, right? They're the ones who are saying to move on.
Or some of Durham, right? Durham's going to come through.
The OG MAGA guys are the ones who raised this issue because they were smart enough, honestly, to understand that this is a proxy issue that speaks to the multiple tier justice system, just the unfair. I mean, it's not 2-tier, it's no tier. I mean, it's just there is one form of justice for somebody and there's no justice for somebody else. That's how it is. It's not even 2-tiered. And it's a proxy for that. And it's a proxy for the rich never being held accountable. Jeffrey, people don't understand that people view the ruling class as a bunch of criminals. And Jeffrey Epstein was the personification of that criminal ruling class mind. And it's cuts across everything, not just Trump supporters, but people who weren't, but now became his supporters because maybe they were disenfranchised with their party or whatever it may be. So they ended up voting for Donald Trump. And, they're liberal, they're moderate, they're conservative. I mean, it is a much bigger and guys, again, Trump's supporters give him latitude like I've never seen voters give a candidate or a president or any figure latitude. All he had to say was, Pam, you screwed this up, but don't worry, guys. She's still doing a good job, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. I promise. That's not what they did. They covered for their own confidence, and then they attacked the voter.